All right, class, we are back to finish up the second activity of lesson 14. This activity is going to look very similar at first glance to the last one we just did. We're going to be putting the coordinates for each of the points that you see on the coordinate plane, and we're going to be answering some questions about them. And so it may seem very similar, but I think once we get into it, you'll see that it's in fact quite different. So, um, or at least it's a little bit different, maybe not a lot different. So for the points here, again, we want to go ahead and label each point with its coordinates, and we'll mark it below the point like we did before. So let's go ahead and start with point A. If we start with point A, we're going to start at the origin. We're going to go sideways until we're aligned with it. But now when we do that, you can see we're going to end up halfway in between -1 and -2. So we've got to think, what is that? Okay, halfway between -1 and -2 is -1.5. All right, so it's going to be -1.5, and then we're going to go up 2. So when we fill that in, we've got to say -1.5, comma 2. All right. For B, we're going to start at the origin. We're going to go sideways until we're aligned with a point. So 1, 2, 3, and then once again you can see it's halfway in between 3 and 4. That's going to be 3.5, and then up 2. So 3.5, comma 2. I'll stretch this out so we can get it to look like that. All right, and then for point C, we're going to start at the origin again. We are going to go sideways, 1, 2, 3.5. So we're 3.5 again here, 3.5, and then down to -1, -2, -3. So it's going to be 3.5, comma -3. Pull this up this way. Okay. Maybe a little bit closer. There we go. So you can see here we're trying to figure out exactly where the point is located without it being exactly on a specified integer or number that does not have a decimal or a fraction. So it takes a little bit extra thinking. Not that big of a deal though. Let's continue with point E. Let's do D, I guess we can do that. So if we're going to go sideways from the origin, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 3.5 again, right? You can see it's aligned with C, so it's going to be 3.5, and then we're going to be down 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we're in between -4 and -5, right? So it's going to be -4.5. So the point is it's going to be 3.5, and then it's going to be -4.5. All right. And then for E, starting at the origin, going sideways to get aligned. Here's 1, -1 rather, and then here we are again in between -1 and -2. As we said, that's going to be -1.5, and then down here -1, -2, -3, -4, -4.5. So -1.5, comma -4.5. There we go. All right, so those are the coordinates for our points. Now we want to answer some questions about this. Find the distance between each of the following pairs of points. So point B and C. All right, so B and C. How far apart are they? Well, we can count. All right, so let's go ahead and let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can mark that as being 5 away. And then for the next one, point D and B. So these two here. So counting down from B, we're going to start. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a half. 6.5 or 6.5. All right, next up, point D and E. Here we go, D and E. So if we're going to count here, remember we're halfway in between the numbers. So I'm just going to stay halfway in between the numbers. Both of these are halfway in between. So if we start again here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, makes it a little bit easier when they're both halfway in between. You just keep it halfway all the way through, and then you can see we got our distance. All right, which of the points are 5 units from negative 1.5 and negative 3? Well, let's go ahead and put that point on the graph here. Negative 1.5, negative 3. So let's see here. So negative 1.5 is going to be here, and then negative 3 is going to be down here. So our point that we're talking about is right here. All right, so how many are 5 units away? Well, let's see here. E's not 5 units away. That's pretty easy to tell, right? Well, let's count our way up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, A is. Let's make note of that. A is 5 away. Is there anything else that's 5 away? B, that's going to be too far. D, it's kind of a weird angle. But C, might C work? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, C works. So we can add in a comma and C. All right, next one. Which of the points are 2 units from 0.5, negative 4.5? We need to put that point on the graph. 0.5, negative 4.5. So we start here. 0.5 is here. It's halfway in between 0 and 1. And then what was it again? 0.5 and negative 4.5. So 0.5 and then negative 4.5. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 4.5 right here. Okay, so we want to know which points are 2 units. Okay, well 2 units, I think maybe E might be, right? 1, 2, yeah, E is. Is there anything else that might be 2 units away? 2 is going to be a little easier to tell because it's got to be really close. D, if we look at D, that's 1, 2, 3. That's too far. C is going to be too far. And A and B we don't have to worry about. They're way further than 2 points away. All right, and then point number 5, plot a point that is both 2.5 units from A and 9 units from E. And then we'll label that point F. But 2.5 from A and 9 from E. Let's think about what that means. Here's E. If it's going to be 9 away from E, what are the directions that we can go? Well, we could go 9 this way, right? But let's think about what the other requirement is. It's 2.5 from A. So if we go 9 this way, are we going to be just 2.5 away from A? No, we're not. So we can go 9 this way, but we're not going to be 2.5 away from A. If the coordinate plane extended down, we could go down, but we wouldn't be 2.5 from A. So our only option is to go up 9 and see where that takes us. So if we go up 9, then we'll be 9 away from E, and let's see if that makes us 2.5 away from E. Okay. B seems unlikely, but let's see if A will work. So if I go up 9, let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I put the point there, is that 2.5 from A? This would be 4.5, right? Even though I made it a little bit lower than halfway through. We know it should be halfway through. 1, 2, and a half. Yes, there we go. We can call this F. And that is going to be 2.5 away from A, and also 9 away from E. And then we want to know the coordinates of this point. So what are the coordinates of this point? Well, let's go to the origin. And let's count over sideways until we're aligned with it. 1, negative 1.5. Okay. Negative 1.5, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. So it's going to be negative 1.5, comma 4.5. Whoops. We'll stretch it to where it's all on one line. There we have it. All right.